All right, looks like we live officially. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Got the team with me. It's me, as always, Mel, Grand Archivist. It's Maurice here with me. And Tristan came in, he came through, wanted to show some support. So I got Tristan with me. What's going on, fellas? How's your week, your weekend?
Peace, peace. What's good, everybody? Shout out to the whole team, man. Team Osiris. What up, brother Maurice? What's good with it? What up, brother Mel? What's happening?
What's going on? What's going on? Hey, before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe, click that bell, so the next time we go live, you guys will be notified and you'll be locked in. All right. So let's start it off, fellas. I think the topic of the week so far that's kind of been um trending all week, can't hear enough of it, is basically the official release and prisoner exchange of Brittany Griner. Um, being that she's now officially back home. She just landed today, I believe. And she's told her story to those who were on the flight with her, as far as everything she went through, and of course those who are in the know. She was exchanged for a former convicted arms dealer, and there's some people that are happy for her release and they're happy that she's back home, but then there's some people who are not happy. It's a lot of complaints about who she was exchanged for and the type of person that they are and why they were given to Russia for her. And they people kind of sizing up the difference between the two. But overall, I gotta say, I'm happy that she's back home. I'm happy that she's kind of back safe. Anybody from America that gets caught up in any trouble abroad, you're kind of happy that they're back where they belong. So fortunately, she's back home. To people who have problems with who she was exchanged for, I mean, y'all got to deal with that. Y'all don't live in Russia, so I mean, y'all got to deal with that. But what do you guys think about Brittany Griner's return, and as well as some of the commentary on her being exchanged for an arms dealer that was given to the Russians?
Well, actually, I echo your exact sentiments, man. I'm just happy to sister home, bro. Like, you hear all these horror stories about being locked up abroad, and it's a messed up situation. One thing that I don't understand is all the hate that is getting, and the thing is, I don't understand if it's hate for her, or is it hate because of who she was traded for? Like, that's what I don't understand. That right there is the thing that really is eating at me, because I don't understand it. Like, you would think, especially most Black people, would be happy that she's back home. I don't understand all the hate. That's kind of weird to me. I think that's kind of crazy. But you go ahead, Trish.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel the same way. It's basically like, we don't know these people for real. So how could you be so, gung-ho, invested in this? Who should, you didn't even know about these military people and all these other people. You didn't know about them before the government did what they did, So basically, the government is saying, this is not y'all business. This is our business. We did what we did. They ain't got to explain that. It's not a social issue that you got input in for real. So you're going to find people like taking other people's arguments, the people that are politically invested into whatever, narratives and storylines that go with each of these different people that shoulda, woulda, coulda been traded. like,
right.
Like it's an NBA, franchise. You should trade it. Like, no, there ain't no we. What you mean?
Right.
That was crazy. I bet I'm willing to bet you that 99% of the people that's complaining about her being home and who they traded her for, I bet you they didn't even know who this guy is.
Yeah.
And I bet they did.
Right. A lot of people don't know who the guy is. Before I get into him and what he's about, to maybe kind of clear up some things, I do want to say, Plenty Free Spirit in the chat said, folks are going crazy online with the comments saying she should have been left over there because of the exchange. What gets her is that people don't even know who the arms dealer was until now, and she gives those same sentiments that you guys give. And I'm like, yeah, I think people really don't know who Victor Bout is, but I for those who are familiar with the things that I'm about to mention, it may ring back some bells. The books were written about him. The book The Watch Machine by Nick Cotchin. His third chapter, called The Merchant of Death, was written about Victor Bout. And also those who remember one of my favorite films, actually, back in 2005, called The Lord of War. It's when Nick Cage is basically a black market seller. He's selling a bunch of military weapons and personnel and things like that to the governments, and he's selling to both governments. So he would basically have contracts with two governments that are actually in war, opposing each other, and he's selling them both, guns and rockets and all types of stuff. That movie was, for me, is one of the favorite movies because it does talk about the black market activities that go down, and it shed some light on it. But that person that Nick Cage played was Victor Bout. And so Victor Bout is a Russian arms dealer. He basically was responsible for making connections with several companies to smuggle arms from Eastern Europe to Africa and the Middle East during the 1990s and the early 2000s. And that was his role. He also was head to report in the United Nations about his wide-reaching operations, his exclusive clientele, and his abilities to bypass embargoes. So he's a very special person, but he got arrested, due to some sloppy work in Thailand, involving terrorism. He also got convicted in a U.S. court, a U.S. court in New York, on conspiracy to kill United States citizens and officials. So I can understand why people are upset about basically releasing a guy who had former connections, but he's been in lockup and in custody for so long. I don't think that he's going to be able to go back and connect with those people that he connected before, because now he's known. Now he's widely known internationally. So there's nobody who's going to work with him not knowing his history, his past, if you haven't looked it up, and then knowing, what his exchanges for. Russia gets him, but again, for those who don't know, he has a past, he has a history. And so I can understand why some people are upset why you would exchange a basketball player for an arms dealer who's very dangerous. But at the same time, they don't realize the importance of having someone in the U.S. that is a citizen of the U.S. that also represents, U.S. basketball team, having them stuck in a country where the United States has issues with. That's a bigger problem. That's going to be something that could start a war over. Has he died in prison? Any of that, it would have been anything, something simple to start some shit between Russia and the U.S. So while both, you know, having both situations on deck, the president Biden had to make a choice, and I think he chose the right choice by having, Brittany Griner back here in the States safely. Yes, he changed the arms dealer, but it's the better of the two evils. I believe he got the better deal. This keeps peace somewhat between Russia and the United States, and Victor Bout is now internationally known. So if you didn't know about him before, you know about him now. The chances of you working with somebody like him are very slim, because now he's widely known. Now that you guys know about Victor Bout, can you kind of see where some of these these animosity is coming from? That's for the people who are kind of like anti the trade because of who he is. For the people who don't know who he is and they're anti the trade, I think it's more so just hate because of Brittany Griner, probably because she's being represented by the LGBTQIA community, who didn't really have much to say about her situation, her getting locked up in a Russian prison or anything. They didn't really protest or anything. So there's some people upset about getting her back because she represents that particular social group. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I mean, I'll say this. Honestly, I don't think it would have mattered who they traded her for, to be honest. I think really more than anything, that was more so a political move on the Biden administration. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm 100,000% happy that she's home, but you also have to apply political lens to this. Biden just opened up the floodgates for the 2024 election with that release.
Yep.
Because he just appealed to 4 different marginalized groups.
Yep.
The LGBTQIA community, African Americans, women for sure. And it's one last group I'm missing here. I'll come back to it when I get to it. But I feel like that was a political move. He just opened up the floodgates to get those votes, because I think he understands the severity of the situation if Trump gets back in office from a political perspective. I'm talking from a political perspective. I think he understands how strong Trump is going to be, especially after the January 6th situation, because we see that the former president has a lot more support, even more, probably more than when he ran the first time. Obviously, we see people are ready to ride his coattail, and I think Biden is somewhat intimidated by that, and he understands that. So I feel like that move to free her was more of a political thing. I also heard about Paul Whelan, who's a former Marine who was like dishonorably discharged. He's in prison in Russia also. Apparently he could have been traded too. But I think personally, Brittany Griner was a better deal for him and his political career, which is why they probably traded her for him. So
yeah,
I think that's
agree.
what happened.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think you're right. I think that plays into his hand. A lot of times, to me, politicians kind of act like certain sports players. Like, when the end of their contract is coming and they play the best that they've ever played. It's the same thing with politicians. They like to do everything that they said they was going to do towards the end of their term, or when they know that a re-election is coming, which is, a way for them to kind of get people on their side. I do think that for politics reason, this was also the best move that Biden could have did. I think had he sat on it, because I did think he was going to sit on it, because they've had these talks about this trade for quite some time, and I thought he was going to sit on it for the year and maybe revisit it next year. But I'm glad he didn't sit on it, and that means he wasn't in prison long either.
This year, correct? Like February or something like that.
Yep. So yeah, I'm glad they didn't sit on that. I want to go on to something that hasn't really been talked about much, but I'm going to connect it with something we talked about in the last show, and that is the rise of flu cases. Flu cases now, what they're saying is overtaking the numbers in COVID-19 or C-19. We'll go with that. So basically, the numbers of flu cases on the rise has surpassed the vaccine, the virus that we've had these past couple of years, and the rate has changed. Also, the rate for COVID-19 has also fallen. And so what's causing these issues is we're currently in influenza season. So the rates are going to continue to get higher. And they're saying that the flu illnesses are causing respiratory illnesses now, which honestly, when you look back every time around this time of the year is when flu season kicks up.
For sure.
And when you look back when COVID came in, because I know when I got COVID, I caught one of the first strains of it, which is back in December of 2019.
Yeah.
That's also flu season. And for a lot of people, they can carry flu season throughout the entire year. And so I think a lot of the earlier deaths that took place that were labeled as COVID-19 deaths were probably flu deaths due to respiratory illnesses caused by the flu.
Pneumonia. That's a common practice for them to label a dead person as having pneumonia. That's very extremely common.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But I think a lot of those because they were big on respiratory illnesses and making sure that you can breathe properly on your own. And I'm like, that reminds me of the flu, like, and how a lot of those people who had issues, they were suffering from flu issues. And so I think that sheds a little bit of light as far as what was going on. And I think a lot of those deaths weren't necessarily deaths caused by this particular virus. I think that they could have also been complicated due to being in flu season and possibly, carrying the influenza along with them. And so, right now they're on the rise. They're much, much higher than the COVID-19 numbers. And they're also causing a lot of illnesses for a lot of people, especially, the children's hospitals are reporting high amounts, even to the 100,000s of people coming in and trying not to spread this thing, but unfortunately, it's still spreading. There's no thoughts officially if it's going to be a major wave like COVID-19 was or not, but because a large number of people were infected now by COVID-19 or immunized against it, they can't measure the effects of the flu yet. But I think if things continue to go and they're not promoting things like certain treatments, I think it's going to be able to continue to spread. Meanwhile, COVID numbers are still dropping. So,
you know what I think, bro? I think really because I think more so than anything, I think for the most part, just my opinion, I think it's because we let our guard all the way down. Like everybody's just like, fuck it. They were locked up so long.
Yeah.
Everybody can't wait to get outside. So like a lot of us have started to move away from doing, the small things like making sure we keep our hands washed and, probably wearing masks in heavily populated areas and things of that nature. So I'm just thinking that, and then another thing too, man, you got to remember at the end of the day, humans are just nasty, bro. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like we cannot underestimate.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Like since the whole pandemic cracked off, like I have been like really watching people and seeing how they operate, and we're nasty, bro. Yeah, just simply going in the restroom and seeing somebody, do a number 2 and just walk out of there, and it's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, hey.
Yeah, it's definitely going through that whole pandemic. Definitely had me pay attention a little bit more than I normally was, and then that's when I realized, like, okay, yeah, it's a lot of people that are nasty. It's people that will walk out of like a grocery store bathroom and not wash hands, but then go touch food.
That's the worst.
Yeah,
imagine being in a gas
like
station.
It makes you real cautious, and it's like, okay, I need to, be cautious as far as where I shop or where I go. Do people need to know that, hey, okay, people are coming out of the restroom, not taking care of themselves properly?
I'm gonna call it like I see it. I can't do nothing but be honest with y'all. The most serious infractions I see it coming from mayonnaise flavored people. Take that how you want to take it. If you get it, you get it, and I'm gonna just leave it right there on that. But imagine being in a gas station, bro. You like, hey, I don't know what it is, but sometimes gas station hot dogs are just like the best like quick snack. Imagine seeing a guy fly out seen a guy fly out the restroom without washing his hands, you think you finna go over there and get you a nice hot dog and dress it up, and you see this same person touching the tongs and touching the condiments. You like, you know what? I'm good, bro. I don't even want to like that just ruined it for me right now. Like I continually see this, and then with my particular line of work, because I deliver to stores all day, so I'm constantly seeing this behavior, and it's really crazy how nasty some people are. And then you got a lot of people that are coughing and sneezing into their hands, and instead of just taking a few extra seconds and just run to the bathroom and wash it, or throw some sanitizer on there,
touching everything.
They want to start touching everything, and then they want to come by you and don't even cover their mouth. Like, oh man, my bad. Let me grab a bag of chips. You be like, bro, you don't get the hell away from me before I assault you, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you got to be on the watch. You know what I'm saying? You got to have your head on the swivel out there, man. Because I seen the dude at work, man. This is like a higher management, floor manager type dude. Went in there and went to the bathroom. He did like 2 seconds of water on his fingertips, and then he went and used that air dryer thing. Hey, ever since I seen that, I was like, oh yeah, I already don't like to use the air dryer. I like to use a paper towel or something. But I was like, nah, I'm avoiding that. Don't use the air dryer. This motherfucker didn't use no soap. Just put his
but it's just wild. In the air dryer, we just let our guards down. We let our guards down completely. You know, and it's just now that some of us are like hypersensitive to that type of thing, I think we just paying attention to it a lot more. And it's just like, yo.
Right. It's been going on. This is behaviors people been, people swear by, oh no, I ain't got no germs. I wiped it on my pants, like people's old schools, quote unquote, and they not really realizing.
Do you not understand how germs and bacteria work, dummy?
Like, they not really realizing, man. They like people in the old days when germs was first introduced, and they was like, nah.
Like, let's be real. These are some of the oldest organisms in the fucking known universe that we know of. What do you mean? Like, you don't understand. There's a reason they've survived so long.
Yep.
The mutation is insane. Have you ever seen a germ or bacteria mutate under a petri dish? It's insane.
Yeah,
under regular time, not a speed time lapse. So regular time, you're like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So just imagine a full-on sneeze or cough, and then you want to go touch all the damn cups in the gas station. It's like, come on, bro. Like, yeah, but I think that's probably one of the reasons that the numbers are so high. People have started getting loose again, and I think, that's probably contributing to what's going on out here. And then in addition to the flu going around, there's also some type of stomach virus going around right now, called the Novovirus. Apparently, someone ate some raw oysters, and it's highly contagious.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually had it a few weeks ago, and it really bummed the hell out of me. I mean, I'm not saying it's like it's something to be proud of, but hey, I'm known as a reliable worker, you know what I'm saying, in my career. So I've never called off. I actually had to call off a couple of weeks ago. Never called off. I actually had to call off. I was that sick. Yeah, I was looking around, then it's highly contagious, man. My son got it, I got it. I don't know how my old lady didn't get it. Maybe it's because she's from like the West Coast and they weird out there with their germs. Ain't that right?
Look at you. West up. Nah, but you know what though? We also got to realize like this is nature we live in, and this kind of stuff is subject to happen, And I know a lot of people like to tie it to like whatever kind of social dogma or religious dogma that they are tied to, like, oh yeah, it's a sign of the end times, all this stuff coming. And it's like, nah, I mean, this is just how nature is, man. Like, we really lucky that we have access sometimes to, be able to cure things, offset things, or, whatever, do what you can to help the situation, because it's been societies that didn't have that, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and that's
it's gonna happen. Especially as we deal more in manufacturing, different drugs and exploiting existing organisms and stuff like that, and working with them or whatever. You're definitely gonna find yourself where like society is creating a hospitable place for super virus to come about. You know what I'm saying? Just by the very nature of how things are run or whatever, you know, whether it's the hospitals or sanitation, how our sanitation works and all of that kind of stuff, waste management or whatever. All of that, you know, kind of plays a role. But I mean, it's a product of our society, you know, that it's such a heightened, you know, thing. But at the same time, we also got access to, you know, things to alleviate the shit. So it's a crazy conundrum we find ourselves in, you know.
Definitely.
But I don't think you're gonna get rid of disease and, you know, and pathogens and stuff like that. Really, like we just finding out how finite we are. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real like that.
Yeah, but that's a weak argument for somebody to be like, "Oh, we're in the end times, and this is what XYZ text talks about." On the strength of people are really, I mean, let's be real about it. People are not really learning. People don't really pay attention, and people don't really study history and anthropology and humans in general, or just animals for that matter, because this wasn't the first pandemic. It's not going to be the last. It was one of many. I mean, this has been going on probably since we've done the earth. I mean, it's no question about it. You know, different species have their own different pandemics. Like it happens all the time. Remember, there was a flu during the Great Depression that was taking everybody out. Let's not forget about the Black Plague. That was a real thing. I bet you they thought that was the end times too, didn't they? Yeah, exactly. You know, so I mean, let's be real about it. Like pandemics are nothing new. The thing is, you know, once society somewhat kind of goes back to normal, people kind of forget that there's that threat out there. So I think that's what takes people by storm, and they make hastily comments like that or unlearned comments like that without actually understanding history, knowing what's actually going on in the world. Like pandemics have been going on. Like remember swine flu? I mean, that's been all types of different viruses that have come out. And it's just, I guess some of them, I guess in our lifetime, none of them has hit as hard as COVID, I should say. So that's probably, you know, one of the things that's gonna define our generation in time is the COVID pandemic. Back in the Great Depression time, it's gonna be that flu of 1929 that you know that was the big thing for them. Just like back in the Middle Ages is going to be the big thing for them was the Black Plague. So I mean, this is just our generation defining pathogen, and it unfortunately is going to happen again in the future. How soon we don't know, but that's why I think that we also got to understand that we must remain diligent and just try to be a little bit more considerate of not only our own health but other people's health with the things that we do. You know, man, take that extra few seconds to wash your hands, man. Like that like literally takes no effort to wash your hands.
It's 15 seconds, right? It's 15 seconds.
I think it's 20, but I mean,
so it's 20, 20, 25. Take the time. Like you're not going nowhere. Take the time. Wash your hands.
Bro. Stop touching shit, you know? Like, for real. Like if you cough or sneeze into your hand, man, like have some hand sanitizer on duty. If you can't like get to a readily available bathroom at that moment, like do something. Like just don't be nasty like that, bro. Like I don't understand. Like how do you just pick up your trousers after you take a dump and just run out the bathroom? Like what is going on right now?
Yeah. It's a question of ethics. It's a question of ethics. I would say for those, you know, who have flu or flu-like symptoms, you know, we're not doctors or anything, but I would definitely say just slow down, take it, you know, a day at a time. You know, stay home and get some rest. Make sure you try to minimize your contact with other people so you don't spread this thing, and make sure that you guys drink plenty of water, plenty of liquids, so you're not dehydrated. But yeah, I think you guys stay safe out there. Plenty Free Spirit said, yeah, I better get right with the Lord. The end is coming. She about to turn on her Billy Graham tone. So something new that came out, that finally like Japan was able to successfully catch up with landing a rover on the moon. They were able to successfully do that. It's historic for them. So being that they were able to successfully land the UAE rover on the moon, which now puts Japan back in the mix of space and space travel and things like that. But this isn't even like the Japanese government. This is like a separate uh, group called Team Hakuto, and they're the ones who designed the rover, and are the ones who shot it into space with a rocket. And so they were able to successfully land it on the moon, and it now puts them into the mix. And what I want to say is, we all know, America's already been on it. I think the next group to send a thing on the moon is South Korea. They're working on something. What do you guys? Do you have an idea of what these other companies are doing on the moon with their rovers? I mean, other than just research, being that America's already been on there and we've already gone and came back multiple times. What more else is on the moon for these other countries to try to find?
They on the dark side of the moon looking for Sentinel Prime, bro. Gotta be like that's the only. No, but on a more serious note, like I mean, I guess good for Japan or that particular group. To be honest, I'll be 100% honest. I'm surprised it took this long for
Oh,
a
yeah.
Japanese firm to even get to get at this point, because if you think about our society, Japan is one of the foremost leaders when it comes to technology. They got some great stuff going on, man. Those bullet trains, the automation of Tokyo and Okinawa, things of that nature. So you would have thought they would have already been on it. After what happened with World War II, their thing was, one of the things that we're focusing on was technology, and so far they've been one of the cutting edge leaders around the world. So that it took this long is amazing to me. But I think this is just showing that you don't need a big government backed project to do such a thing. Hey, all you need is a little bit of ingenuity and the right sponsors, and the possibilities are limitless. For
Right.
anybody. I think
Right.
I think that's a win just for the little guy. Period.
Pretty
Yeah, I think
much private companies are gonna start just popping up more and more in all of these various countries. They, because like you said, they're not going to be just dependent on the government, funded operation or whatever, and whatever political red tape. It's going to get to a point where technology is allowing these private companies and eventually private citizens to, do flybys and stuff like that. Go to the very reaches when you're right in outer space. You know what I'm saying, and do like a trip and have an industry based off of that, making money off of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, SpaceX taught us that. Thanks to Elon Musk and SpaceX, they've been sending, like, so far, I think it's like 50 rockets already.
Yeah.
Like, well, no, they shot their rocket, the Falcon 9, 50 times this year alone. So like, SpaceX been doing it, and they've had some mistakes. I remember like last year when they were trying to fire off that daggone rocket, and it didn't even last that long, or it didn't hit the right trajectory. And so,
yeah,
like,
that's gonna happen.
yeah, they got it, like, to the point where, I mean, like when you say, you don't really even need, like, NASA to really partake. NASA was in the crew, but like, you don't really need them to even partake, because Elon Musk has his rocket where it doesn't even need to be manned in order to be controlled. So yeah, it's finally time they caught up. I can't wait to see
what I
more.
heard too, though? I don't know if this is true or not, but there's something, what I heard is Elon Musk has some kind of invested interest in mining some kind of new mineral or something like that, or new element that hasn't been on the periodic table or something like that, right? Some kind of new element.
Right.
And so he's trying to like get a hold of that. So I pretty much know it's going to be about mining, you know what I'm saying, and trying to get materials and stuff. Now, with that material, what are you gonna do? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But
Right. How that material
there's
reacts
something like
to
that going
being
on.
how that material reacts to being in the Earth's atmosphere.
Right, right.
You
Are
know,
you gonna use it
it's
there
how
only,
it
or
reacts to oxygen and
yeah,
water. It's gonna be interesting. Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely interesting.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think speaking of mining, I think it's a good segue to. So I think this is what he's trying to do. Also, Mars. I think it's
Hold
not
on.
just.
Before we move off the topic, I want to give one quick shout out before you go further.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Can we give a shout out to Mad Mike Hughes, who died after trying to prove the Earth was flat? A rocket.
Oh yeah, no, we don't do shout outs for
Oh
flat earthers, bro.
man.
We don't do shout outs to flat earthers. But rest in peace to Mike Hughes for trying to prove the earth is flat. But yeah. But now I wanted to segue since we was talking about mining, and it looks like Josh came through. What's going on, Josh? You're trying to get connected. But speaking of mining, what do you guys think about life on Mars? Because I think that's what he's trying to do. I wouldn't be surprised if he's mining on Mars, but I also think trying to find a way to have habitat and humans living on Mars is an option that he's not willing to give up. Elon Musk is who I'm speaking of, by the way.
Yeah, I
it's a
actually just seen a video about this, right? Where they was breaking down like the potential to go ahead and terraform Mars in a quick, short amount of time, right? If money wasn't an object and technology wasn't an object, right? So what they came up with was we're gonna blast, Mars with lasers, right? So that we could get to the untapped water that's under the surface. We're gonna have that start bubbling up, we're gonna basically terraform from a distance. We're gonna send satellites that have lasers attached and they're gonna use solar power, and all this stuff. And it seemed like far-fetched, but it was like it's doable, but you'd have to have some real complex machinery and a lot of resources to do this, you know what I'm saying? But it's not something that's gonna happen in any one lifetime, They was talking about it could take like 1,000 years, for example, to get to the point where you are sending nitrogen over there, from here, sending nitrogen there to make like an atmosphere. But then after all of that, having water and, and all of this, which would be real salty, they said, there was like, there's no magnetic field on Mars, so you're going to be bombarded with radioactive, rays and shit. So you would have to make an artificial like umbrella type thing, a magnet, you know what I'm saying, that travels along with the planet like a moon, protecting the people. So it would be one of them things like living in a submarine, like you got short resources. You can't do nothing unless supplies come from, XYZ from elsewhere. So you could find yourself living on Mars and they'd be like, we didn't get our shipment of nitrogen, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like, that's a big deal, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have organisms that are making nitrogen like on Earth, here. Like, so it would take so long for them to get to that. If you could ever, do that, it's pretty far fetched, man. But I applaud him for having an inventive mind, and because that's just going to like produce some kind of technologies or whatever that you can use in the meantime, pretty much.
Man, you know what? I think too deep about things like this. Like, what if, some human gets up in Mars, right? Like, we only know Earth. And to be honest, we don't even know all of Earth. Let's be real with ourselves. As a human population, we don't even know all of Earth. It's a lot of mysteries that the planet we live on still harbors. So my thing is, how do you know you won't get to Mars and there's some damn bacteria on there that's gonna wipe you out the moment you step on there? Like, I really think about that. Like, when you understand how bacteria and germs work, taking it back to the conversation we had earlier, you are acclimated to this environment on Earth. And there's a lot of things we can't even handle here. So how do you feel like going to a distant planet thinking you're just gonna post up and set up shop? And that's not,
it ain't gonna work like that. It ain't gonna be easy like that. Like you just going to a new continent
that
or
can
something.
Be a possible thing to wipe you out,
Right.
I don't hear enough people talking about that.
Yep. Welcome, Josh. Welcome to the panel here. What are your thoughts about trying to find life on Mars, terraform Mars, and
Yeah, the water might not be edible.
things like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Hello?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear y'all. You said y'all talking about Mars?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Mars? We just it was a segue from Japan finally landing a rover on the moon, and we went from that topic to segue into talking about mining things on Mars. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, shoot. They land on Mars, man. Like, it's over for the flat Earth, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you would have thought it was over when they landed on the moon, but I mean,
It was over for the flat
saying,
earthers when they Messiah passed away in 2020 from trying to launch a homemade rocket trying to prove the Earth was flat. It was over for him then.
yeah.
Yeah, that's official right there.
Thank you, natural selection. But what about is Mars flat? You know what I'm saying? But
He said, "Thank you, natural selection."
So-
Don't do it to him. Don't do it to him.
Yeah, we're not even gonna go down there.
yeah, I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there. RP to the homie. RP to the big homie.
Save that
though,
rabbit
man.
hole for a whole nother day, bruh.
Right.
Yeah, man,
But,
Mike Hughes, man, Mike Hughes.
oh, well, I got you. But like, it is interesting to see, Mars being the new frontier, I guess, so to speak. I guess,
Yeah.
that, we've been to the moon, so Mars has always been the focal point, and I'm kind of interested, like, but what Harry said about these apocalyptic, what the potential of an apocalyptic type of bacteria or some type of contagion that could be present on Mars. That is a valid point. If I'm not mistaken, they have collected some samples on Mars. I think it was a rover or something they sent to Mars that they have collected some samples. Now I don't know if they tested it for bacteria or any other type of pathogens, but that is interesting. So when did like what year? What's the target year? 2030, 2040?
For landing on Mars, you talking about what's the projected year?
Yeah.
Actually, I can find out what Elon Musk said because he's the one kind of heading this campaign. Let's see.
It's probably 2030 or 2040, 2035.
Yeah, I was thinking 2035,
Yeah.
but I think he said he predicts 2029. Is what Musk said.
Damn,
So
that's pretty. I'm saying that's a little too soon, but I mean that's pretty fast, But if he has the capability of doing it, that'd be cool. But I just don't see them doing it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can kind of see the rise in technology. I mean, I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the automotive industry, but he just released the electric electric truck, the four wheeler, not the truck for regular customers. I'm talking about the one that for the 18-wheeler. He just released that, and we got hydrogen powered cars now, and things like that. So like the tech as far as the industry wise is booming. Like it's moving and it's adapting real fast. So at 2029 isn't too plausible. It's just that you got to make sure you can send something there that can make it there and back. And if they're willing to put the money behind it, and if NASA's willing to help assist, as well as put the money behind SpaceX, I think they can do it and not have to send a single human to do it.
That was my next question. How much money is that gonna cost?
It's going to definitely cost some money, but it's also going to be able to make money because that whole stamp of being the first to do it. So I think like South Korea is talking about being the next to get on the moon. They haven't done it yet, so they want to send a rover too. But it's like they're playing catch up. there's nothing on the moon that the U.S. hasn't discovered, and SpaceX this year alone. SpaceX has already sent out 50 rockets. Period. So like we've done it several times, but I think 2029 is not too plausible. He said that back in 2016 though, so it's not too plausible. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. I want to take a slight break, and since we got Josh up here, because one of the topics that we were going to actually cover was a topic with Josh, and now we got you up here. Let me go ahead and share this real quick. I want y'all's thoughts. So, here we go. So officially, as of the 1st of December, White Castle has announced their new Sloppy Joe slides and Sloppy Joe.
Hey man,
as well as the mac and cheese nibblers.
Hey,
so
here we go.
Y'all say this topic just for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Here we go.
So they just released.
Please tell me I'm being punked right now. Like y'all.
So look, they just released 3 Sloppy Joe slides. There's the regular Sloppy Joe. That's the one on the bottom in the blue box. Then there's the Smoky Joe, and that's the one in the bottom on the left. And then there's the Spicy Joe on the top with the jalapenos. And on the side there is the mac and cheese nibblers that they got.
Oh my God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So they're releasing this for the winter. Again, they announced it on the 1st of December. So they should be available now. And I wanted to know what you guys thought. Me personally, I'm not a fan or aficionado of White Castle. But I could be biased as far as my particular preferences and taste. I don't necessarily like White Castle too much. But as far as the rest of you guys, the 3 of you guys, what are you guys' thoughts on White Castle as a whole, as far as just a fast food restaurant, as far as their food, and then what are you guys' thoughts and opinions on this new release?
I don't like White Castle, man. Like I've been to my family originally, they from Chicago. My mom was born in Chicago. So I go back and visit. And I went as a kid and, everybody, let's go to White Castle. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But it just didn't really hit right to me. It was like, I'm kind of cool on that. And then now as an adult, like over here, we had the frozen kind you get from the store or whatever, before they started putting stores out on the West or whatever. But I never was really into it, man. But some people, they just love it, man. They just eat, 10 of them or whatever and just love it. And I'm like, I'm kind of cool, man. So all of this new release stuff that they got, I'm good.
I hear you.
Can we send people that like White Castle to Mars just to see if it works? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I suggest everybody that likes White Castle, we need to load them up on the spaceship and send it at the Neptune or somewhere. I don't know.
Damn.
Hey, buddy, come on now. You push
Hey, look, I'll say this though before you go, Maurice. I'll say this: some of them might actually not mind going to Neptune or Mars, so you might get the right ones. Might get the right ones.
Great, that would be fantastic. Because
all right, the only person.
Oh, go ahead, bro.
No, I was going to say, I guess it's the only person on the call who actually likes White Castle. I will say this. The Sloppy Joe sliders are trash. You can make better Sloppy Joe at home. Okay, the mac and cheese nibblers, that's matter of fact, the Sloppy Joe sliders and the mac and cheese nibblers are always limited time items. They always bring back and take off.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Wait.
So,
how you doing?
So you've had them before?
Yeah, of course I have. I have had all of it before.
Hey, man.
Oh, okay. So you said the sliders are trash. All 3 of them? You had all 3?
I didn't have all 3. I had the regular one, but you got to think, like, if the Sloppy Joe ain't hitting, I don't care what you try to dress up on it. It just ain't hitting. If the Sloppy Joe part ain't hitting, then it's pointless.
Hey, you got a point, but I mean, what if you put some cheese on it? You know, cheese and make things a little bit better.
Bro, if the sloppy Joe ain't hidden, because they using the same sloppy Joe for all three of them. If the sloppy Joe ain't hidden, bro, it don't matter what you put on it, it's not hidden.
All right.
How you gonna make a slop? Like, I've never seen any fast food restaurant serve sloppy joes. Like, maybe a mom and pop place, a spot or whatever. But how you gonna package a sloppy joe? That shit is, bro. Oh my god, look at this picture, bro. This is insane.
Hey, you know what? Honestly, we used to have a big restaurant in St. Louis, called Mama Jamma, and it wasn't necessarily Sloppy Joe, but it reminded you of Sloppy Joe, and that was like one of the best sandwiches in the entire state. So I mean,
was it packaged?
no, it was like a hoagie sandwich. Like, it reminded you of a Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, okay.
But it was kind of like Sloppy Joe, like, type of deal.
Look how they got the sloppy Joe all neat and shit. Like, that's how it's gonna look when you buy it. Like, oh my god.
Nah, it's a little flatter than that. It ain't all meaty like that.
Well, I'm just saying it's gonna be meat sauce everywhere. Like, come on.
And the mac and cheese nibblers, they decent. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing to really go crazy about, but they decent. You know what I'm saying? Out of everything in that picture, I would vouch for those before I vouch for the Sloppy Joe.
I vouch for throwing that shit in the trash, like all of it. Even the regular White Castle, but that's just.
All right, see, that's where you lose me. You losing me right there. You losing me right there.
All right, so look, before we go to the regular White Castle, you approve of the mac and cheese nibblers, but just the 3 Sloppy Joe variants based off just the regular Sloppy Joe, you're gonna say it's a dub, it's an L, right? Maurice?
Ask the question again. I didn't hear you.
Yeah. So you saying that the mac and cheese nibblers, they're dub, but you say it's an L for the Sloppy Joe, just the regular Sloppy Joe.
Yeah,
you're assuming that the other 2 are also L's, no matter what toppings go on them.
Yeah. That's where I'm at with the Sloppy Joe sandwiches. Yeah, they could have kept that one, unless they come up with a better recipe for the Sloppy Joe. I'm telling you, you can make better Sloppy Joe at the crib, bro. Ground you up some meat and use the manwich that we all grew up on. Like, that's better than that manufactured nonsense.
You can make better everything than White Castle at home. But I'm sorry.
All right, so before we get to this other topic about regular White Castle burgers, sliders, I want to go to the chat real quick. We got some action in the chat. So, Planetary Spirit says he wanted to try those sandwiches. He loved White Castle. Also would love to escape the planet, get her on the ship. So it's like I told you, get some people a bag of White Castle and put them on the planet to Mars or Neptune, and it's a deal. Love Me Fro said that they got frozen Roscoe's waffles. Don't do it. She would throw up sign, the emoji. And she also says she's late. Never had a Sloppy Joe outside of home. And I concur. I haven't really had a Sloppy Joe outside of home, but I've always made my own Sloppy Joes. So it's not really that hard to make. But you really, to me, how do you mess up a Sloppy Joe? So yeah, it's interesting.
White Castle definitely finna do that. Oh, trust me, they definitely finna mess it up.
Well, I don't even think it's messed up. You know, it's one of those things where, you know how you kind of mass produce a certain object and it kind of loses the original flavor and lore that it had before. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's better at home. This mass produced product is just not hidden.
Gotcha. So let's get to this regular this beef with the regular White Castle. Again, it's not my preference as far as type of fast food burgers to have. But what are you guys' thoughts on this regular White Castle, and do you like it or not?
It's like 5 people that's keeping White Castle in business. Like, and Maurice is one of them. Like, I don't know who else eats White Castle, man. That shit is just like, every White Castle meal comes with a free bottle of Pepsi Bismol or some shit like, or Imodium AD. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna stop though. I mean, it was, I had White Castle one time. I mean, it didn't taste terrible, but I do know, maybe 15 minutes later, 30 minutes, an hour, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I had the bubble guts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's that shit was crazy. But, it's just not my cup of tea. But I respect anybody to eat it, man. I respect anybody to eat it.
It's all right for me. It's one of those guilty pleasure things. Like, I can't argue with him on that about the BGs. That's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, when you eat it, you know that. But it's so damn good, you don't really care. You already prepared for it. Like, I don't just willy-nilly just eat it like that.
When I hear White Castle, I hear crystals. Like, am I wrong for that assumption? Like, is it like
that's
crystals?
what I compare it to, because I've had both Crystals and White Castle, and yeah, they kind of like those cheap, to go burgers. They both come in a box. Like, it's you can have, like, if you really want to, like, you can have like 5 of them or 10 of them, or however many you want, and they come in like a container ready for that. So yeah, it's they're kind of the same. It's just I think Crystals is different, brand, different location and everything, but theoretically, I would say that they're similar.
Okay.
But yeah, again, this everybody has their preference, their choice. Some people don't like McDonald's for some reason. I don't mind it. So some people have a hate love type of thing. Some people don't like other fast food places. Period. Some people do. So it's a choice. I think based on what I'm seeing here with the mac and cheese noodles, they do look like they're pretty decent. I mean, you really can't mess that up. You shouldn't be able to. I mean, it's noodles, cheese, and fried up. So I mean, but I think with the sloppy Joe, especially with cheese on it and everything, it should not be disgusting. But I'm more inclined to take Maurice's word for it as a aficionado of White Castle. So yeah, I'll take his word for it.
White supremacy.
All right.
I mean, there's a comparison to be made to Crystal only because they serve similar, like a slider or a classic slider, small burger. But other than that, I mean, that's really the only comparison. Like, I've never heard anyone say Crystals is better, and I've had Crystals also. I'm just not convinced that they're on the same level as White Castle at all.
Gotcha.
No, for real, bro. Like, you don't feel like White Castle is the equivalent of Crystals, like.
No, because I feel like
they both the same to me, man. That's the same stuff, man.
Well, yeah, you got to think. You from the outside looking in, you talking to people who don't like. California don't got no Crystals in White Castle, so I can understand where Trey is coming from. He had both of them. He's just like, oh, whatever. So I mean, you talking to somebody who, like, I grew up with White Castle, so I know this. Like, it's a St. Louis staple, even though it's not headquartered here. It's a St. Louis staple. Like, this is where everybody goes after the club. This is one of our premier restaurants that we have. So naturally, visiting Georgia all the time because I got family down there. You want to go to Crystal, see what all the hype about. There's no comparison at all. It don't taste the same.
Interesting.
Crystal is like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, they take it exactly the same. Crystal is terrible. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, White Castle was halfway decent when I had it, but Crystal's definitely is not. That's not. Crystal's breakfast is good, like the grits and eggs and sausage, toast or whatnot. But like those burgers, man, I can. If I never eat another Crystal's burger in my life, I'll be straight. But okay, I'm gonna try to be fair. White Castle is not all the way terrible, but Crystal definitely is. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be nice.
All right. So, if you guys have any other little food preferences or things like that, definitely bring those up. Uh, Love Me Fro said in the chat she likes McDonald's double cheeseburger with nothing but the cheese and barbecue sauce on the side. Yeah, she can't stand vegans. I think vegans have some vegans. I think they have like this disdain for anyone who still eats meat because they're like torturing themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like they have a like it's almost like jealousy. It's like, you know what? You get to have steak, you get to have hamburger. I'm gonna make you feel bad about it because low key, I still want that. Like, and it's like
Yeah.
they have this disdain, and it's like a little mafia thing. Like they really are like a mafia, where it's like they're trying
The vegan
to.
mafia, bro. That's what
It
it's called.
is. It is. It's like, yeah, she said they're self righteous. It's like they're really trying to like hold people accountable for their like choices. Like, no, you chose to be vegan. Like, you didn't. Nobody hold a gun to your head and said, "Hey, you need to stop eating meat." Like, that's a personal like choice, a health choice. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that they're just miserable. Like, they need a cheeseburger. Like, and they'll be satisfied. But they just miserable. I think doing a bit of maybe a little bit of vegan and then maybe balancing it out with the steak every once in a while, I think it's perfectly fine. I think you just gotta find your balance. Find your balance and work it out. So what, you have a steak, but you eat mostly vegan or mostly plant based, that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine. Find your balance, find your crutch. For some people it's bacon. Okay, have your bacon, but then eat plant based the rest of your food and balance that out. But I'm putting the chat here. If they got a preference between White Castle, Crystals, or McDonald's, see what they think. So I'm starting a little poll here. Um, let's see here. So the next topic here is I don't know how familiar you guys are with these, but I have had some experience. Um, NFTs or non-fungible tokens, basically digital art, digital objects. They can be anything from like a tweet to a video to an art, a logo, sneakers. What do you guys think about NFTs? Currently, NFTs are sold via like certain auction sites, and people make payments to NFTs with like cryptocurrency and things like that. But currently, NFTs on the decline. A lot of people think that NFTs are pretty much a waste of energy and a ripoff because the value of these non-fungible tokens are determined by the society or so-called the social universe or the metaverse. What do you guys think about that? I think this is an opportunity for people to place a value on things, but also because that value may not be determined on its worth. You may pay $2,000 for a Bored Ape logo, but if don't nobody else want that logo, you just wasted $2,000 and it holds no value. Versus if you would have got a Bored Ape painting by someone like Banksy or someone, and then had that painting up for sale, you now can sell their painting. What are you guys' thoughts on NFTs as far as how they function, what they're about? You guys think they're a scam? Do you think they're a ripoff, or do you think it's a revolutionary way of the world of art?
Well,
If I'm
like
gonna
with
be
any
honest, for
technology,
me, I'm gonna
man.
say it's I don't want to say it's a ripoff, but I think that it's so new and people are just not really understanding it yet. So people are hesitant to jump in the game. I know I am, because I'm still trying to kind of understand the purpose of an NFT. I just really don't see any purpose for it, to be honest, at this point. But I'm pretty
That's what I
sure to
was
pick up
gonna
in the
say.
future. But for me, I really don't. I don't understand it. One, and then two, I don't see the value in it.
Yeah, because it's such a new technology. I don't think that we even know all the different ways that it will end up being useful in the future, even ways that's not being talked about right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think basically once people get familiarized with it, companies and tech and stuff, and start like painting a picture of what you can do with it outside of just, okay, you can go ahead and, buy some art or whatever, have you, some media. Sort of like blockchain and sort of like, the encryption, stuff that's going on in crypto and whatnot. None of those have really settled in on like, okay, what's going to be the industry that I'm used in, you know what I'm saying? And or the major ones where you can make money or whatever. So it's going to be a long time, like before we even we like little babies that got some new toys, to play with. We don't even know what they do yet. You know what I'm saying? to make sense in our lives, So right now, people is just basically like trying to use it as an opportunity to invest. You know what I mean? And come up quick. So that's where the scamming comes from. It's just people that don't even understand it really, the technology side of it themselves, but they understand how to the economic side, and how to invest in it or whatever, and try to flip it or whatever they're trying to do. So I would say, people don't get discouraged because it is getting bad press right now. The whole metaverse is getting bad press right now, for real, if you want to talk about it. But it's just going to be years and years, man, until it settles in how we going to use it. And then it's going to make sense and people will be like, okay, I'm going to buy this or this or whatever. It's going to become an integral part of people's lives or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, but don't you think it sets up, like, going forward? Like I said, I be thinking deep. Don't you think this kind of sets up more social woes in the future? And what I mean by that is this. From what I understand about the metaverse and NFTs and some of the stuff that I have kind of learned a little bit, you're going to have these same major companies that sell us physical goods being able to sell this same stuff in the metaverse, these NFTs. So you'll have Nike and Jordan brand and they're selling their shoes, their clothing per se, and all the other ones. So now think about all the guys or girls who can't probably pull it off in real life. They get in the metaverse and start wilding out. Don't you think that creates like some kind of social issues or social mental issues going forward? Because now they live in the metaverse instead of real life, and they really think that they somebody or they hold value when at the end of the day, the metaverse isn't your real life.
I think it depends on the value of the metaverse, because those same issues would have to be present and exist within the realm of gaming, online gaming. When you have games like Grand Theft Auto, games like Fortnite, and many others, where you're basically, even Sims, where you're basically in your own universe, and while it's free roam and you have free access to do whatever, a lot of times people do have this misconception of how the world works, and you have your anomalies of people who basically, oh, well, because I can just take any car I want from Grand Theft Auto, or because I can just kill somebody and take their money, take their guns, I can do this in real life. And there's a disconnect there, which is why there's an age limit. And, most people don't honor those age limits for gaming, but there is age limits for gaming to prevent the companies from being liable for somebody, snapping off like that. I think if we're gonna address the issue with that being possible in the metaverse, we need to address that issue in gaming first and foremost. And I think the second thing, with NFTs, again, NFTs is like artwork that the value is determined by the society. So, and it's not limited to artwork. There's literally people now buying land, on the metaverse, buying land. They're buying, the ground that your mailbox may stand on if you have a mailbox away from your home, or if you have your car on the driveway. There are people buying the land that your car sits on,
and that's crazy.
In the and listen, there's this video I saw the other day where I guess the guy was loud playing music or whatever in his home, and the police got called on him. And so his neighbor has this outside garage, and he basically bought the land digitally that garage sits on, and he's making digital money from it. And so there's digital real estate within the metaverse that currently exists, and people are buying it up like hotcakes. So it just depends on how valuable we, the people, see the metaverse as being. If we don't value this and it dies off, then people wasted a lot of money. But if we value it and it becomes better and it improves and we start entertaining it, like it's The Sims, like it's Grand Theft Auto, like it's, these open world scenarios, and we start spending real money in these open world scenarios like they do in Fortnite, then it becomes much, much more than just something that's digital that's not tangible. Because that's the big thing with NFTs, is because it's not tangible, people feel hesitant to buy certain things. But again, it depends on the value of the society and how they see it. If I go get a painting from someone popular and it's in the museum, the society dictates how valuable that painting is. It starts with the painter and how worthy their paintings are. Is that a 101 or is that a 1 of 20? It matters the difference, because the worthness is dictated by the society. And so that's the problem with NFTs. That's the problem with the metaverse. And that's why they're putting so much money behind it. That's why there's so much of a push behind it, because the moment people can buy into it, the moment people can commit to it, then the sooner they're going to be able to make this a real thing for people to be a part of. And it's not hard. If they could do it with video games, they can do it online. What do you guys' thoughts?
I mean, when you put it in that perspective, oh no, I'm not feeling it. Sounds like one big Sims game, bro. It really does.
It does. I mean,
it sounds like Sims mixed with Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite. Like, this is gonna be something wild. Saints Row, this is gonna be everything bottled into one. But people out here wearing real Gucci and Louis Vuitton in the metaverse, while carjacking people of Ferrari.
Nike just started their Dot Swoosh platform, metaverse platform. That's the home to virtual sportswear, footwear, apparel, and accessories. So they're building a Web3 community called Dot Swoosh, and users are able to attend exclusive events, collaborate with designers on products, earn royalties from the sale of those products, and they're able to purchase those products. So not only are they able to collect them, they can trade them, they can quote unquote flex them. If you show up in the metaverse, people see you got Nike gear or whatever from head to toe. So yeah, like they're doing that now. Like, this is already happening. So it's just a matter of more companies getting on board. And the more and more companies get on board, the more it's going to appeal to the society that exists in real world, in real life. And so the more it appeals to real society, then more people are going to want to sign up to be a part of this metaverse. So it's just the beginning. But I think NFTs could be useful. I think they could be good investments, but don't expect, if you buy NFT now, to have any real worth or value. It needs to be something that people are actually valuing and appreciating in the metaverse, and people haven't gotten to the metaverse yet, so you don't really know their value or the worth yet. So that's really where it's kind of like a catch-22, and people feel like they got scammed. That's something that you really need to sit on and wait. I would say, before you buy an NFT, if you're gonna buy it for you. Buy it because you want it, because you like it, and that's it. Don't buy it for its potential benefit financially.
Man, my NFT matching gonna be lit, bro.
Hey, but you know how much money you gonna have to put in real world to get all that? Like it's gonna be interesting. You know how many people go and buy, those shark cards for game like Grand Theft Auto, and they spending several hundreds just to make sure that they got millions in the game. So
Yeah.
imagine how much money people are going to be spending in the metaverse. It's going to be ridiculous. And like I said, Nike's already signed up. Wait till more companies sign up because they're going to sign up. They're going to see how lucrative the potential is, and it's not costing Nike any money in real world except to have a design team, a Web3 design team. That's all they do is design products Nike already sells and already owns the rights to. So it's nothing.
Man, wait till Balenciaga open up a metaverse store. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're all going to join. Gucci, all of them. They're going to join. And then it's going to be, okay, now I can dress my character out in, the gear that I can't afford in real life, basically.
Exactly, which that's what I'm saying. It's gonna create some social woes.
Don't you think that already exists with Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite?
I mean, no, honestly, no.
You don't think people spend like crazy money on Grand
I
Theft
mean,
Auto?
yeah. They spend money, but I'm saying, like, as far as the social part of it, nah, I don't see that because, like, it's still, it's just a locked in video game. It's not.
But
The metaverse has potential to be way more.
Of course, but even but that's what I'm saying. The foundation comes from what we already have. Even Roblox does the same exact thing. You know how many kids are on Roblox?
Yep.
Designing their characters, asking their parents for Roblox money so they can look fly
all the time. I'd be like, no.
I don't
let me get $20 this week. I need to deck my character out.
I've never played it, so I don't know.
So
I listen.
That's the reality of the future of gaming and stuff. And this is not just gaming. This is like the intersection of the interneting, gaming, doing commerce, and everything. So really, it's new, and so the reaction that we get is kind of common or whatever, right? But that was the case when computers first came out. You feel me? They was like, man, like how much porn people gonna have access to? They're gonna use it wrong. Then it was like, nah, well, you can send money to people in need real quick, usually for good, you know what I'm saying? And then everything in between. I got this art I could slang on here, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's good, like, so all of those same things are gonna happen here, and it's just gonna take people to just be like pioneering, so to speak, right? And trying different stuff, basically. And then they see what works, what don't work, how you can exploit the system, the cracks in the system, just like anything else, right? And people gonna start being familiar with it and start using it. Pretty much, like, it's just gonna be what it is. Even people that are not quote unquote into that kind of thing or whatever, they're gonna find that when they go to work, they have to have one of these accounts. You know what I'm saying? Like, just that's part of your profile. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It might not even be for leisure all the time. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what I think. I think once you already had Nike, one of the foremost brands of sneakers and sports apparel. Once more clothing brands get on, then you're gonna have automotive brands that need to get on, and then you need to have these other brands that represent, like, whether it's food brands or whatever. When they all start hopping on, then it's gonna be an opportunity for people to want to get invested. And the real investment, I think, if you're going to invest, is watch out for these people that are buying digital real estate, because now they get to collect digital rent, and it's going to be fun seeing that happen. But the thing is they need to make sure that they sit on that, because the metaverse holds no value now, But if it blows up and it does become bigger than your Sims or your Fortnite or your Roblox or your Grand Theft Auto, that was a lucrative buy, and they bought it at a huge discount.
Man, that's crazy. You charge me for renting the metaverse. You have to run me a fade, bro, for that land.
Yes, sir. Hey, just wanted to let y'all know I did a poll in the chat. If you were hungry, you had access to all three restaurants. Which one would you choose? I put McDonald's, White Castle, and Crystals, and of course McDonald's wine.
McDonald's.
I
Fuck
mean,
that.
yeah, that was an easy one compared
Fuck
to
that.
McDonald's.
Fuck
Yeah,
that.
of course.
McDonald's.
Of
Fuck
course.
that.
I'm like,
Yeah,
why
I
did
just
you
had to spin
include
another one
McDonald's?
in
Why
there,
didn't you just
and
make it? Why didn't you make it just Crystal and White Castle? Like, come on, McDonald's is a different level. Bro. Come on now.
hey, I just wanted to see, man. You know, sometimes you gotta
I
see.
tell you what was number 2 then? How about that?
There was no number 2. It was 100% McDonald's.
Oh, bro.
There's no number 2. Yeah. Also, I put, would you buy an NFT? And 100% of them said no. So, yeah, it's clear that right now is not the best time, but keep your eyes peeled, because when people start flocking to it, that's when your investments need to be lined up. So just got to be smart. Right now, I think it can be seen as like a sham or ripoff, if you will, or even these people out here that are crypto evangelists promoting it. You have to be mindful, be skeptical. This is the time to do so, because what they rely on is the metaverse, and the metaverse hasn't officially landed to where people want to flock to it. Not necessarily can, but would they want to flock to it? Facebook just released a new device, a new metaverse like Oculus device, and it's pretty good. But again, it's getting people involved, and that's what they need. They need people getting involved. Once they can do that, I think it may have some success. But for right now, I wouldn't buy into it. Not now. It's too early. So yeah, let's see. So any topics you guys have currently that we haven't discussed, or anything that's happened out lately this week that you guys wanted to talk about?
Oh yeah,
Brother Maurice, you said a sugar free already getting a
man,
divorce.
sugar free for those that don't look. This gonna hit more for the older generation. You know what I'm saying? The ones that's in their mid 30s and up. Sugar Free the P, the legendary West Coast rapper from Pomona, right?
Yes, sir. Pomona Town.
Has divorced his wife after about 2 months of marriage. Well, he's divorcing his wife after 2 months of marriage because of a botched BBL.
Oh man.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up and read you exactly what he says. Apparently, he went clean off on her.
So he divorced her because of a bad BBL?
Yeah,
that's bad, man. Whatever they got going on, it must be toxic for other reasons, man. Like,
look, all right, here go the story right here. On Thursday night, December 8th, he made use of his social media page to accuse her of a botched BBL. He shares an image of a woman's bare behind after alleged botched surgery. In the caption, he admitted that he refused to get intimate with her because of her deformed body. Then he wrote, botched, chopped, stitched, butt bruised. Lady Rue, mad because I didn't F her. He wrote in the caption, God created us in his image. This is what you get for not liking yourself. Botox has effed women up so bad, y'all. Lady Rue looks like a Frankenstein monster when she takes her clothes off and wonder why I won't F her. and then, all right, it says in the
Pimpin already
post,
knew she was gonna do that, man. Come on, that's not something that you don't know she want to do or whatever. So you was just waiting to see if it was gonna come out good or not, and it didn't come out good, man.
Nah, you know what? He probably was against it, bro. I mean, if he said what he just said, he said, God created us in our image, and look, this is what happened when you don't love yourself.
I don't know. That's a weird little situation.
Hey, but he went on to say some more stuff. He said he claimed that she was physically abused by her baby daddy while she was pregnant. As a result of the abuse, her son is slow. Oh wow, this dude's going in. He said, now say something else, fat MF. Yeah, I'm evil now. What, fat MF? If you stay, he taunted his wife. Sugar Free's wife has responded to his claim. She denied the pictures were her. She said, "This is a defamation of character. My soon-to-be ex-husband is slandering my name." She said that he said bad things about my son. This is one of the reasons why I have to leave. A person like that is nothing to me. I'm a woman of God, a woman of character. I'm a woman of integrity. It's very unhealthy for me to be in this place. Then she said, "Friends and family, thanks for all the support." And, then they go on to say, Sugar Free was a former pimp and he was a protege of DJ Quick, blase, blase. But yeah, man, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, that's definitely wild.
It's definitely something deeper going on with that, man. It's definitely something deeper going on with that. I know, the headline was just about the BBL, but come on, man.
Hey, man, that man said he don't want no bot surgeries, man. He want a real woman, G.
Man, hey, it's 2022, man.
I mean, to divorce somebody over a bot's BBL, I mean, you already know how they feel by having that happen. Like, come on now. So I mean, like, to divorce somebody like because of that, or to break up with somebody because of that, that's a bit much. I gotta say, that's a bit much. Now I understand. I do kind of can see where like he wants, that person to be themselves, but like 9 times out of 10, or even 10 times out of 10, he's probably said something about her behind that made her feel like, okay, I'm gonna go do this for him, because that's the person to do it for, or maybe she wanted to do it for herself. But still, like, yeah, that's a bit drastic. It's a bit much.
Man, I say this is when we start to get into the deeper conversation of. I agree with him, and I'm gonna be 1,000% honest. I agree with him 100%, man. I don't
to divorce her because of a
no.
BBL.
Well, no, not necessarily that. I mean,
I was gonna say, bro.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna
we
be
need
honest.
to talk.
I'm in the middle on that. I can't say what I would do if I was in that situation, so I don't know.
Okay,
but I will say this. If I had a choice, I would have. If it was me in that situation, if I had a choice, I'd be like, you know what, babe, this is your personal decision. But if you ask for my opinion, I would say no, because I think you're fine the way you are. You survived this long being the way you are. I married you, and I love the way you are. So I mean, if this is something you feel strongly about, I mean, I can't stop you per se. So that would be the conversation I would have. Now, if it came back botched, I can't say if I would divorce or not. I'm in the middle, so I don't know. I don't know.
So like, I think what's crucial to hear is like you telling her that is something like probably he should have said. I don't know if he said it, but I think that might have helped. That might have helped her, like, either not go through with it, or at least if she's gonna go through with it, go through someone who's, has a good reputation of having successful BBLs surgery. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm definitely
don't just go to Mexico.
There's a lot of questions. That's one question, but then the other one is like, why was that not part of the agreement? You know what I'm saying? Because celebrity, marriages, they got stipulations in relationships too, not even just marriages, but
BBLs is part of the marriage agreement? What?
No. Having stipulations on what I want you to do, or what you can and cannot do, or, my brand, this and that, can't talk about this, so on and so forth. So if you got all of these things going on, such as that, why wouldn't be, I'm against, the surgery.
That's something.
Certain surgery, then that's grounds for divorce. You could say that ahead of time.
But no, like, Trish, that's something that respectfully, like, we could talk about. Like, hey, I'm gonna go get a BBL. I want to get a BBL. What do you think? And then basically have that discussion as a couple. You know what I'm saying? Like, not necessarily put that in the stipulations or whatever to get married.
Right.
I think
they should have a convo about
it. Yeah, that should be like a simple conversation. Like, that should be a conversation. Hey, I want to get a BBL. What do you think? And then
she had to have said that once over the years or whatever before they got married.
Yeah.
Right? Come
So
on, dude.
he shouldn't have been surprised that she was gonna go get one. And if that was a deal breaker, that okay, look, if you get the BBL and the BBL is botched and your behind is leaning to the left too much, I'm not gonna
Right.
like it. You know what I'm
Some
saying?
people
Like
be putting in weight clauses. You got to be this much weight, and
weight
maintain this and that.
clauses. Yeah, that's
Hell
crazy.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's a bit much to do the divorce. I think if he divorced her, it might have been some other stuff going on, and he could have used the botched BBL as an excuse to go ahead and send the divorce papers up.
That's
But
what I think. That's
I
what I
don't
think.
think just divorcing somebody over BBL is enough. Like
It
that's
has to be something else, dude. It got to be something else. Like that's just
yeah,
like you said. This is what will allow the courts to give him his way and say, all right, they having a creative differences. Okay, we'll let them go ahead. Because that's a life changing event. Believe it or not, having surgery or whatever. So you can treat it with like, what I'm saying,
right.
some importance or whatever. So okay, we'll let you have your divorce, but I'm sure it's another reason. But they just don't want to go through the mud with whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I was laughing at with Love Me Fro said, she's like, Melvin, that makes too much sense. The man is crazy.
Yeah, that too. That too. Like that's erratic behavior, man, coming from the celebrity couple and shit. So that's a red flag already that we having to have this conversation after having the conversation like, oh, they Sugar Free got married, for the first time. Like, and then just a few months later, oh, okay, yeah, something definitely going on.
Yeah. So I wanna touch on something else that happened recently. So I don't know if you guys know, but a fellow, I guess you could say, um, like another artist, actually two artists we talked about recently. So yesterday there was a clubhouse room hosted by Whack 100 and Captain Tazariak of the Hebrew movement, not the entire movement, but just his particular movement. Um, and they had a interview with Kanye West on Clubhouse last night. Um, and basically, what happened was um, they were chatting about a lot of Kanye's thoughts, and he started talking about a lot of celebrities who took him to task for rocking the White Lives Matter T-shirt during Paris's Fashion Week. And when they started naming like the people who like kind of so-called checked him for wearing White Lives Matter, uh, when they mentioned Meek Mills, like kind of checking him, he busted out laughing. He's like, I'm literally in tears that y'all think that Meek Mill could ever check me about wearing a White Lives Matter T-shirt. Um, some of the other celebrities he mentioned were like Diddy, Puff Daddy, Dave Chappelle, but when they mentioned Meek Mill, he started laughing. Um, he said, "Somebody really mentioned Meek Mills. I'm about to start crying." And so Meek Mills heard about it and basically replied to it on Twitter today, and he was like, "Here's a direct quote: Never lost my mind for fame or money. I still have my family, my people who respect me. I'm freeing people from prison. I'm doing community service all month with children up close and personal. I'm chilling with my son and his friends today. Y'all on Clubhouse at 50, LOL." so, so apparently he's a bit bothered by it or a bit hurt by it, but he's trying to act like he's not, because otherwise will I respond? But I think, speaking on the matter, I think it shows a level of who Kanye like respects in the industry, um, regardless of who might have checked him or tried to side task him for rocking the White Lives Matter T-shirt. I think Kanye at this point is like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do, and anybody who thinks that they could check me for doing whatever it is I want to do are laughable. And I think that it's intriguing to see like he's at that point in life where like he feels like he can never be checked. What are you guys' thoughts on not just Kanye wearing the White Lives Matter T-shirt during Fashion Week, but also him laughing at Meek Mill trying to check him for wearing that shirt?
That's yay, man. Like, I mean, his whole rollout has been, you can't tell me nothing. You feel me? Like, and he brought back, because he's not the first one to do this. First off, it won't be the last, but he brought back a certain kind of classism. You know what I'm saying? Where it was like, and they had it like in the mid '90s a little bit too with the lyricism. Like, yeah, it's only certain niggas. Like, you can't talk to me, nigga. Like, you can't even talk to me. Based on artistry. And so, and he's doing the same thing. Like,
Right.
who is Meek Mill? Who is Meek Mill? Like, and this is my running gag, is that I'm Kanye. You can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's fitting. It works with his marketing. You know what I'm saying? To garner the headlines and whatever that he does. So I think it's just, it's his marketing pretty much. It's his branding, is that he is an asshole. He already told you that. He could take you back to the song, you know what I'm saying? If you want to get smart with whoever he's talking to, that's what he's going to resort to, which is, it seems childish, but really it's just his marketing. That's his character in the economy today. You know what I'm saying? So why he can't do something else now? You know what I'm saying? Because it would look bad, because this is Kanye. You know what I'm saying?
Right. What's the thing, Maurice?
Hey man, I'm gonna take a left turn on y'all, man. It is. I'm gonna quote the legendary Sugar Free the P, since we just got to talking
No, we never
yes,
do that.
Yes, I am. I'm about to quote legendary Sugar Free the P in Glasses Malone. Kanye should have never married that B. She belongs to the streets. That man is having an everlasting manic depressing episode, man. That dude is off his rocker right now. Like, man, that dude needs some help, bro. Like, he's always had that overinflated ego. He's from day one.
Yeah.
He's always had that overinflated ego. Like, he's always been like, oh, I'm the best in the room. Even when he was like a nobody in the room. Like, he's always been like that. If you've watched the Kanye documentaries and you've seen his career from the beginning to now, he's always had that overinflated thing of himself. But now it's different. And I'm going to say, when I go back and I bring it up to current now, Kanye has shown us that he has been pretty much mentally unstable this entire time. He has flashes, but I don't think it's never, ever been this bad. And now I just think it's to the point where, like, hey, man, we need to get that man some help, or just kind of let him kind of fizzle himself out until he decides who wants to do that on his own, if he decides he wants to do that. I think Meek Mill is, he was a respected member in the community, but I don't know what happened. Maybe his antics, or maybe some things he said, or maybe some funky stuff he's done recently have kind of like made him fade from popularity, or made him look less favorable to the hip hop community. So I kind of feel like that's that was kind of Kanye's response to him, was like, who are you? And it's like, yeah, like at this point, Meek is kind of falling from grace a little bit. I don't even know if he'll ever pick back up, but coming from Kanye, it's to me at this point in the game, it's not really saying much, because look at what Kanye's going through. So I'm not even taking Kanye serious as he tries to, son Meek Mill. It's like, okay, we got the crazy manic depressive guy trying to son Meek Mill, and Meek Mill got his own little issues, but it's like, you of all people, nah, bro, I'm not buying it. Bro. But just like they said, man, Kanye should have never married him. And if y'all don't know, man, look the song up on YouTube. It's a fire song. I heard it 3 times today. One of my favorites. Glasses Malone, LA Giants, and Sugar Free the P. Kanye should have never married that B word.
Right. So speaking of musicians and music and whatnot, I actually had Take Your Word and listen to some music that you mentioned last week. Last week you mentioned check out the Ron Isley and Isley Brothers album, the new one
Yep.
called "Make Me Say It Again, Girl," and
Yep.
so I did check it out, and it's a decent album. I have to say it's pretty good. It's got about maybe like 3 or 4 songs that I could replay all over again. I as far as like listening to the album from beginning to end, it's well put, well produced. I just think that I wish the whole time I was saying to myself, they didn't need a single feature. Now I know you may disagree, but I really think that all those features that they had, from 2 Chainz to Eldebarge to Beyonce, Trey Songz, Earth, Wind and Fire, Snoop Dogg, Quavo and Takeoff, Rick Ross, I really think like they did not need a single feature on that album, like how they normally do, and they would have killed it still. I think it probably even would have been better because a lot of the songs that had features, like the feature was toward the end of the song, and especially if it's one of those, 3 or 4 replayable songs, I'll reach that part where the feature comes in and then play it back to the beginning, just because I wanted to hear that part, and that part was so much more fire. I think that they probably had to add the features to get the budget for the album, and I think that's probably what helped with the budget. But I think that overall, it probably would have been that much more of a classic album, for it to not have a single feature and them just rocking out, him and his brother.
Okay. I will agree with you because this is the legendary Isley Brothers. They don't need any features. Like, let's be real about it. Ron Isley is a vibe by itself. Like, we've grown up listening to this man. But think about it from this perspective. You have a musician, a group who's been making music since the 50s and still remain relevant in 2022. Now, of course, they don't need the features. But to show that they're able to blend their signature sound with newer artists just shows how talented they are and how they transcended time. You know, I will agree. They don't need the features. But the fact that they do have them, I feel like they were all done. And the only thing that I would disagree with you is I can listen to the album from beginning to end. I think the features added a new mix of flavor to them. Like I say, a lot of those collaborations are the collaborations you didn't know you needed. Rick Ross and Ryan Isley, that was like, for real, that was a Maybach music track, for real, if you want to be honest about it.
It was. It definitely was.
2 Chainz, The Plug, that was completely left field. Nobody saw it coming. But to me, it worked.
They did it on purpose.
Some people disagree, but it worked.
They did it that way on purpose.
A duet with Beyonce. She's arguably like the best female in the game currently, and been for some amount of time.
It's just another notch under the belt, really.
Yeah,
that's exactly. Notch under the belt. It's just another album.
That's the best way to say it. It's just another notch.
They can always make musical album, you know.
Yes, it's the notch under the belt. It's another notch under the belt of legendary musicians. They didn't need it. They have a substantially large catalog that have plenty of hits. But this new album, for them to be able to mesh well with the new generations and some solid production, hey, I mean, it's another notch. Why not appreciate that?
Right. I can definitely understand that. In the chat, Planet Free Spirit, actually Love Me For says she loves this song. Planet Free Spirit says absolutely too many features, and some of the features weren't good. She also says I'm mad at the 2 Chainz track, The Plug, LOL. Love Me For says Santana started that featuring in the early 2000s with the features. And she also said, but I can't do it with my Isley Brothers. And I agree. I think they're so classic on their own. And I get what you're saying, Maurice. Like, they kind of showing that they can kind of hang with the new generation of artists. And I think like even some of the features that you get on this album, these guys like Ron is in his 80s, his brother's in his like late 70s. These guys, I don't want to put that energy out there, but they're getting up there, and so you may never ever see another Beyonce feature. You may never ever see another Rick Ross feature with an Isley brother. You see what I'm saying? Like this is a huge thing. I wish they would have done their features and stuff, especially like with Earth, Wind and Fire. That they could have cut an album together, honestly. Like that should have been done when they were, a little bit younger and while they
Years
had
ago,
the
like in the
prime.
70s.
Yeah, like having the Earth, Wind and Fire on a single it's like a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a lot to think about and to process. But having them on an album, that could be a classic. You see what I'm
So
saying?
listen here. How many 80-year-old men you know are just relevant right now? Because don't get me wrong, it's a lot of musicians from back in the day that's still alive and kicking. They touring and they're gonna be touring till they die because that's where their money coming from. But
Yeah.
they not cutting no
I mean,
album.
Frankie Beverly and Maze tours every goddamn year. Like, so,
Yeah, exactly. That's a prime example, right? So listen, they not cutting no new albums though.
nah. They don't have to really, but nah.
No, they don't. And the Isley Brothers didn't have to do it either.
True.
Ron is set. He didn't have to do anything. But the fact that they were that ambitious to do that, kudos to them. And it sounds good.
Yeah. Yep.
Frankie Beverly and Maze ain't making no new album. Earth, Wind and Fire damn sure ain't making no new album.
But they don't need to. They can still eat off
Well,
of.
they kind of mostly dead too, but that's another topic.
No comment. But they still eating off of their classics. Like they classics still
like 2 of them left, bro. Like when I say they dead, I mean they passed away, like literally. I didn't mean they were dead as in like a dead music group. No, I just mean like they literally members are mostly like out of there. Like
yeah, I know. That's why I said no comment. But I think that they're still eating off of their old stuff is still giving spins. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, still giving spins. So they didn't even need to, like, you know how many times Between the Sheets is still being played to this day?
Yeah, like, I know. That's what I'm saying. You got hits that are still being played from the 50s up until now.
Right.
And you decide to cut an album. Kudos to you. And it was decently done. And you showed that you still got it somewhat. You ain't lost a step. You still missed the bigs.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, definitely.
I really feel like if R. Kelly wasn't such a disgrace to the world right now, he would have played another major role in that album. And it probably wouldn't have had as many features.
Had he not been a disgrace, he could have been. And that album gave me that vibe of like when they originally cut that song that he had with him. It gave me that energy where it was like that could have been like, if you're gonna have a feature, have it with someone who can actually sing, like really, really good and match their style, their energy. But yeah, I would have if you have the option of having him on there now versus having no features, I would have taken no features. Like, period. We're gonna speaking on R. Kelly. There was a supposed album that was released called I Admit It. And the album was put on like all streaming platforms, and like maybe less than 30 minutes later, it was taken off all streaming platforms. So, what are you guys' thoughts about that? As far as like the streaming platforms putting the album out? I was able to see the track listing, and then the moment that 30 minutes later, jacking the album off of the shelves. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
Honestly, I was skeptical the moment it dropped. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I'm like, that dude, ain't no way he authorized that. Ain't no way R. Kelly authorized that, bro. Like, I'm sorry, it's no way. The damn album called I Admit It, Nah, come on, bro. That's just like, nah, ain't no way he authorized that. Then you start reading deeper into it. Oh, it was unauthorized. He didn't have anything to do with it. And it's like, yeah, I figured that because I mean, don't get me wrong. He's obviously done some questionable things, obviously, in his career. But this was just one thing. I'm just like, nah, bro. I just don't, no, he didn't do that.
So yeah, this I've heard some skepticism out there as far as the album not being authorized by him or Sony to be released. I heard it was like a bootleg. I also heard it was like not really new songs. It was more so like songs that he had that were like old or unreleased and stuff like that. But from what I got a chance to look at, the titles of the songs were different. And I think the last two songs of the album was I Admitted Part 1 and I Admitted Part 2. I didn't listen to this album because I had no intentions of listening to R. Kelly, period. But just I wanted to see if anybody had the gall to be a feature on the album, and there were none. So it's a lot of weird stuff going on as far as what the album was it real, was it not, or whatever. But all I know is it got pulled off of all streaming platforms at that point. So I don't know if it's authentic or not, but yeah, regardless if it's real or not, regardless if he said that he's going to admit that he's guilty or whatever, I'm not listening to it. I'm not listening to any R. Kelly, from now on. Knowing what we know now as far as what he's done. And they're even trying to, if you heard about the case, they're even trying to, like this girl is now trying to take back everything and not admit anything that happened. She's like, no, he wasn't there. No, this didn't happen to me. And like trying to pull the case back. I don't know what was done to her or her parents or whatever, but she's trying to like renege on everything. So I don't know what's going on with this case. It's mad weird, but I'm pretty convinced that he did it. And so now knowing that, I can't really like support that.
I mean, at this point, I mean, it to me it just don't make any sense for him to, especially if you name the album I Admit It. That's really my main point of contention. Like I just don't see that. Like that's so wild to me that it would be an official release and it's called I Admit It. That's crazy. I just don't see him. I mean, like logistically, it doesn't look good, even if you are in a appeal process.
But
sort of, there is some sort of push for you to be released. Like, I don't see you making that dumbass mistake. Like, you have to have advisors around you. And plus, I mean, even all right, let's be real. This man is in jail. He's in jail. He has people around him who are handling certain business things for him, for sure. And I'm just saying, I'm trying to give humans the benefit of the doubt, even though I know humans definitely make dumbass decisions for sure, without question. But I'm pretty sure someone from his team was like, if it's true, I don't think it's true. I think it was all fake. I think somebody released it. Like I said, when I looked at the story and everything that came out about it, it's definitely a fake album, and it wasn't even a big record label that did it. It was some rinky-dink situation, but that's neither here nor there. But you got to think there's some people on this man's team that'd be like, if a snowball's chance in hell, if he did say, hey, out, somebody like, no. And for you to have it titled I Admit It, absolutely not, Robert. No.
I mean, that's a hell of a way to, state your case. But I hear what you're saying, but.
And Sony, who owns pretty much his publishing rights and all of that, I don't see them letting it out, which they didn't. Sony didn't let it out. Like I said, when you look at the story and everything that's behind it, it was some rinky-dink production company or small record label that did it.
Yeah, so, that is something I did see. when I was going through like the track listing is so I don't think it was Sony. I think it was something called like Journey or something
Yeah, RJ
records.
Productions or something like that, or something like that. But
Yeah.
this is the thing though. This is why I don't. This is why I'm knowing it's not official. Sony is one of the biggest conglomerates of media in the world, media and electronics in the world. They obviously care about their image. First, them releasing any R. Kelly anything right now is not a good look. And then
No,
two,
it's
to
not.
release an album called I Admit It. Come on, bro. Come on. Sony ain't doing that.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. And honestly, like I think it wouldn't be wise for them to release any of his music, period, just because
Exactly. They're not. And that's what I'm
it's
saying. Like, and then to turn around and
financially, like
just
it's gonna flop. People aren't gonna listen to it.
no, because then you got people boycotting Sony. Then you're gonna have issues with Sony losing
Oh
favor.
yeah, oh yeah. People will definitely boycott Sony at that point. So yeah.
Bro.
But yeah, I wanted to speak on that. Speaking of music, I got some other stuff I wanted to state. I did check out an album that was recommended to me by Omeretta the Great, Emotional Gangster. That was a good album. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed listening to that. Um, Metro Boomin's album is officially the third album he's done that's on the Billboard 200. So,
and that album is crazy. I listened to it again today, like for the third time. That album
yeah,
is crazy.
I haven't heard it, but
I'm proud that he's from St. Louis. Shout out to Metro Boomin.
Yeah. I figured to be proud he was in St. Louis, but I'm gonna definitely check it out. It's definitely in my library. I just gotta like get to it.
Another new album that just came out that I hadn't got a chance to listen to. I'm surprised is SZA. I definitely want to get into that.
Yeah, SZA, I gotta listen to SZA album SOS, but I'm hearing that it's not that great. But that's why I don't listen to albums when they first come out because everybody's got opinions on them and what they think about them. So I kind of wait. A Boogie with a Hoodie album just dropped. Snoop has an album with Too Short that just dropped. Mount Westmore.
No, that's more. That's Too Short. That's E40. That's Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg. That's Mount Westmore. That's
Okay.
That's a whole group.
Oh, it's a whole group. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I'll definitely check that out. There's another new album that dropped as well. I have to look into that to see what that album was. But yeah, as far as music, that's pretty much the music thing. For those who get Apple Music is getting ready to drop the karaoke feature soon on a new version of iOS, and that's definitely going to be interesting. You already mentioned the Snoop and Master P Snoop loops.
No, not live. I don't think we talked about it live.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's go over that. They're big mad about having to rename the Snoop Loops cereal.
Yeah, so just to give you a background, basically, Snoop Dogg and Master P have a joint venture through Broadest Foods, which is of course Snoop Dogg because that's his last name. They got a joint venture where they're trying to conquer the breakfast market, and that was one of their breakfast foods was Snoop Loops. So I'm not 100% sure which cereal company it was, but from what I saw in the article, it said Kellogg's. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it has something to do with Fruity Loops and it being too close to Fruity Loops. So they filed, I guess, an injunction against Snoop and Master P for them to remove the name because it sounds too close to Fruit Loops. So now they have to rename the cereal, which is ridiculous in my opinion. I just feel like you know what? I'm gonna be honest. It's easy to use the R word, but this definitely sounds like R word stuff right here. I'm gonna just be real with you.
I can understand that. I think the biggest thing is
this is definitely racially motivated. They don't want to see. They just don't want to see you.
I don't think that's it. I think that I'll be honest with you. I don't think that's it. I think that's a way to attack them getting into the breakfast food industry. And in the breakfast food industry, Kellogg is king in the breakfast food industry. But when you have two influential people that I believe are internationally known, it can get it could definitely make a change because this isn't just him putting out a cereal. He started his own brand, Broadest Foods, which means he's going to try to take a change at attacking the industry, starting with breakfast. So that means that the breakfast food industry now has a potential new threat. And so Kellogg, being a business, being a king in the business sector, because even Snoop Loops isn't even spelled the same way as it is on Fruit Loops. It's with a Z instead of an S. But Kellogg being king and realizing what's going on, they're going to stop that. Keep in mind though, like when you go on Broadest Foods website or Snoop Loop's website, he's got other cereals. He's got oatmeal, grits, pancake mix, syrup, and a lot of that benefits his. He got a nonprofit called like Door Hope and stuff like that, where they're focused on homelessness and needy families. So he's really trying to push this thing to be more than just one thing. Like he's trying to take over the daggone breakfast industry. And because Kellogg is king there, this is a business move. I can see where you may say, "Oh, well, it's the hard word," but it's bigger than that. It's them trying to prevent the use of two people with a lot of influence to being a problem with this breakfast industry. And if you paying attention to these rap snacks and this other stuff that rappers are involved in, the stuff is starting to sell now. And that's because the influence has been used. So
See, this is my realm of it. On the strength of I actually work for the largest snack brand in the entire world.
right.
So I can definitely tell you. Rap snacks have a following for sure. But honestly, they're no competition to the company that I work for. None.
They're not, because they don't have the actual people who are on these packages directly influencing the business behind them.
This is
That's
a
the difference.
company. We're talking about around the world. This is an international company. Now, let's be honest. Rap Snacks is usually, for the most part, marketed in urban city areas to
Correct.
mostly American people. So it's really no threat as a whole to a larger snack brand, because it's really only specifically targeting one particular demographic. That's not to say other people don't eat them. Of course, other people do. But knowing what we know, if you apply the same thing, which Master P actually has a hand in Rap Snacks too. Now,
Yes, he does.
if you apply the breakfast thing, you're kind of looking at some of the same thing. Now, Snoop Dogg is definitely, without question, an internationally known person. Snoop Dogg can't go anywhere in this world without being. He's done so much. He is, I dare to say, the most relevant rapper from the 90s. Still, there's no more popular MC from the 90s than Snoop Dogg.
He might be the most popular rapper ever.
Yeah, for sure. Snoop Dogg,
him and Tupac and Biggie is like the most popular ever over all the other rappers.
Yeah, he's done a lot internationally. Snoop Dogg has done so much internationally. Now, with that being said, knowing what we know about Snoop Dogg and P, and who the potential buyers or consumers are going to be of their products, again, we're looking at products that are marketed to specifically African Americans for the most part. Not to say anybody else wouldn't eat them, but these products are marketed towards African Americans for the most part, who only account for a very small percentage, a minority
It's
of
a
the.
small, yeah, it's a small percentage, man. If anything, they'll get bought out once. See, they haven't even reached the level where
I
these
think that's
companies
the
want to even
next. I
buy them
really
yet.
think. I think that's the next thing. I think that injunction
Right.
was just a distraction to start negotiations for them to try to buy those brands for
Yeah,
them.
that's what'll happen.
I think that's what they're trying to do. But and you know what I'm saying, in the long run, Kellogg's is also an international brand. Like you can't minimize Kellogg's nowhere. So I don't think it's a competition thing with Kellogg's. I really don't. I just really think that was a distraction for them to eventually start negotiations to buy them out. And it was a bit of racism. I really do, because I just don't understand how
They would have stopped anybody from getting in on that territory of something that sound like Fruit Loops. If you can get away with it legally, why not? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but you got Malta-Meal. They got their own version of Fruit Loops, and they ain't
But they're
bothered.
not trying to infringe on dominating the breakfast industry. Like I said, Snoop Loops is just the beginning. Like I said, they got other breakfast stuff, pancakes, mix, syrup, grits, oatmeal, other breakfast foods. Like it's broadest brands that's the real problem and the real threat. Snoop Loops is just the beginning.
When you go to Cracker Barrel, IHOP, Waffle House, any other nationally known or internationally known breakfast chain or who's known to sell breakfast food, guarantee that most of the products that they have are from Kellogg's, and I doubt that's going to change with the advent of Snoop Dogg and his Snoop Loops and his pancake mix and his syrup. I seriously doubt that's going to knock a hole in it. Like I said, I can use, for example, the fact that I work for the largest snack company in the world, and the competition is Rap Snacks of small local snack companies like Golden Flake, or in St. Louis is like Red Hot Riplets and things of that nature. So like they share and then the way the Frito-Lay set up, they buy space in stores. So Rap Snacks couldn't compete. You can't compete with a multi-billion-dollar company.
No, it's just different levels.
Exactly. You can't compete there. So it would be the same thing with the Snoop and the Snoop Dogg and the Master P situation. Like they wouldn't be able to compete with Kellogg's on. I mean, let's be real on a level like that. So it's kind of funny how they would go after them. Which, like I said, I just think that's a distraction for them to go try to buy them out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I could see him getting bought out, man.
Because like
before they get too much power, let's go ahead and buy you out. And
you got to look at all the independent grocery stores or different grocery stores that have subsidies under them. You know, Walmart has their own brand of all this stuff. Walmart has Great Value, which is their brand of everything. That's literally next to Kellogg's, and it's Walmart. You got Kroger and Ruler, which is a subsidy under Kroger, who have their own brands of everything. So knowing and understanding how the business works, especially in regards to food and competition, there's no way at this particular time that they could challenge them for market shares and revenue. Yes, it's something fresh, it's something new, but it's kind of targeted a specific demographic. It's not the revenue it's not gonna bother Kellogg's, General Mills, or any other a cereal company or a breakfast company. So I just think that's a distraction.
All right. So let's wrap up this music discussion. As far as like what you guys been listening to lately, what albums have you guys checked out? I know that Gucci just dropped the album, 80-track album called So Icy Boys Finale. I'm gonna check that out, see what that's about. I think it's the first time he's ever dropped an album with that many tracks. So I'm definitely gonna check that out, see what that's about. What else? What are you guys listening to? I know Trey's. I know you produce music as well. But when you're not producing music, what are you listening to?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I haven't listened to no new stuff that dropped this past week or whatever. I haven't listened to none of that news. I did listen to that Kanye little snippet that he put out, that little freestyle or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to that thing, which the beat was cool. It was kind of reminiscent, his style of production or whatever. But he in a whatever space right now. He in between, what I'm saying, thoughts and movements and shit. So it was kind of funny to hear him talking how he was talking or whatever. It seemed like he just kind of in that limbo is the word I'm looking for. And then once he get his power back up under him, then you'll see it reflected in the music again or whatever. But that's pretty much what I got from listening to Kanye.
Gotcha. Maurice, what you listening to lately?
Man, I'm gonna keep it honest, man. I keep it West Coast for the most part. For the most part. I'm working on my West Coast playlist. I'm currently up to like 500 songs on it at the moment. So that's mostly what's taking up my musical taste right now is West Coast. But of course, I listen to other stuff like I kind of like artists that haven't quote unquote been discovered per se because they're still hungry and the music sounds different. So I'm listening to. I got another guy called FCG Heem. I know he's from Broward County, Florida. He just dropped an album called Shallow Side Baby. It's pretty dope. But the best album from him for sure is called Neighborhood Poetry. I listened to that from beginning to end. I thought that was dope. It came out last year. 14 tracks. They go hard.
Hard. You got to send me both of those so I can check those out.
Yeah, I know. He got a track with No Cap, Pooh Shiesty, Tootsie. So yeah, man, he going hard, man. Also, Finesse 2 Times. I'm messing with Finesse 2 Times. I like him. He going hard right now. A blast from the past. Well, not necessarily the past, but I guess people would call him a one-hit wonder, but he's much more important than most people think. Drum just dropped the album. Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. If you haven't heard Drum's album, the name of the album is What Had Happened Was. Check that out. He got some bangers on there. He really letting his, you know what I'm saying? He really letting it out.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw that he released the album recently.
Yeah, because it's a lot of pain behind his album because, all the years after him making that song Broccoli, he felt like he was kind of railroaded by that one song with him and Lil Yachty. Because everything else, you got to kind of try, how people try to put you in a box and make you try to live up to that particular song. He's like, look, that was just one aspect of my creation. I got more than that. So after all this time of him not dropping no album, he really put his all into this. And I really like it. And I think people need to check that out. It's dope, for sure.
Gotcha. Anything else y'all think the people need to hear? I think we went through all our topics and everything. Anything else?
Also, Toxic King of the Year, Division DVSN. Y'all got to hear his album. City Boys, we up, baby. City Boys, we up.
City Boys.
Well, he got a track on there called What's Up. I'm going to send it to y'all in the back chat. Y'all got to hear that. DVSN, What's Up? Man. And then also the other track that you hear on the radio, if you listen to the radio, If I Get Caught Cheating, that's his song too. So, like I said, he coming for the Toxic King crown. So Future better watch out, bro. City Boys, we up.
Yeah. Hey, Planet Free Spirit says she didn't know about the Gucci album. She on it tonight. Yeah, it's 80 songs though, and it's 3 hours straight. Like, I saw that and I was happy and scared at the same damn time. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that.
Man, that's longer than Black Panther, man.
Yes.
of course, man. Lil Baby, Only Me, that new Lil Baby album. I still listen to it at least once or twice a week. I ain't gonna lie to you. I do.
The new one or
Yeah,
the last one?
the new one. Like
Really, I gotta get to that because I
it's
really enjoyed the first one.
I put it
Not
to
the
you like
first one, but the last one.
if you ask me, I'm gonna say his last album was better overall, but at the same time, this one's not whack either. That's the weird part about it.
He
It's
he
not
left
whack.
off songs that he should have put on there. In a Minute, Frozen.
Yeah,
What's the other one? Um, it's another song beginning with the R. He left like those three major songs that were spinning before the album dropped. He left those songs off, and they should have been on the album. They really should have been on the album.
I agree 100,000% with you on that. I
So
did.
if he releases a deluxe, they better be on the album. If not, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah. But
And
yeah,
I hope he go hard on the deluxe because that deluxe from last term was just crazy.
yeah, it's a solid project. Like I'm not complaining at all, but I do feel like My Turn is better.
Gotcha.
But this one ain't no slouch, bro. Like it's not. Roddy Ricch just dropped his album. A lot of people say it's getting mixed reviews. Some people like, and at the same time, it's really not an album. He said it was a mixtape because the label didn't want to get behind it, so it's like officially a mixtape.
Yeah, he basically saying it's like a studio album. It's not a studio album.
He wanted to release it as an album, but the label wasn't going for it because to this date, all of his Feed the Streets projects have been mixtapes. So this is another mixtape. It's not classic Roddy Ricch mixtape. That's it gives you more of an album vibe, but it's not bad. But it's definitely not better than his last project. No, I take that back. Last project was Live. No, it's not better than Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial because he had another project called Live Fast or Live Free or something like that.
That was an EP, wasn't it?
No, that was an actual album.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but I listened to it a couple times. It's a solid project.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about that.
And another sleeper, man, on the R&B, more on the R&B side, y'all got to pay attention to is Eric Bellinger, bro.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorites, bro. After I heard him, I think Usher introduced him on like a mixtape or whatever. And after I heard the introduction with Usher introducing him, it was an immediate, let me go ahead and get all his stuff. He got that cosign. It was a rap.
Eric Bellinger got some hits.
Yeah, definitely.
He got some hits. He from Compton too.
Oh yeah. Yep, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's all I got, man. It's I'm a music head, man. I'm listening to music all day, every day at work. So
yeah. I think that's all the music stuff. I don't really want to talk about Diddy having a daughter and all that. I think that's weird, but I think that's pretty much everything. Still think album of the year so far is still gonna be Beyonce's album, just from the amount of playback. True, I know you weren't here last week, but album of the year, what do you think album makes it at the end of the year?
And I haven't listened to all these albums, but based on the fanfare that I'm seeing and stuff, it's probably gonna be Nas, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. as we close off, I want to say one more thing. Maybe you guys have seen this, maybe you haven't. But it's on the movie Emancipation that Will Smith is starring in. Have you guys seen this yet?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I haven't seen it yet either. But I will say this though, and hopefully, this gets heard, but it's kind of played out. Like to constantly see another slave movie, to me, it's kind of played out. Like we're kind of done with them. I don't know about y'all, but me myself, I'm definitely done with the slave movies, and it's time like they try to find something else to do and move on. But this is another one of those slave movies. I'll read you the synopsis, but it's called Emancipation. It's got starring Will Smith and it's also got a few other people in here, Ben Foster, and some Mustafa Shakir, and some other folks that I'm not too familiar with. And the synopsis is inspired by the gripping true story of a man who would do anything for his family and for freedom. When Peter, an enslaved man, risk his life to escape and return to his family, he embarks on a perilous journey of love and endurance. And so, while it may be decent acting, and I don't trust movie reviews much. While it may be decent acting, I'm just tired of slave movies. I think Django should have been the last one, and of course, I know that there were others after that, but it really should have been.
Come on now. Django was that hit, bro. He fighting back.
I understand, but it should have been the last one. That's what I'm saying.
Any movie that shows us fighting back is all right with me.
Yeah, but it still should have been the last one. Is what I'm saying. Like, are we not done with the slave movies or what?
I mean, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. That's just me. It's my opinion, but I'm really just done with it. But yeah, y'all definitely check out the new music. Yeah, like I said, if you're a Gucci Mane fan, definitely check out the So Icy Boys, the finale. It is 80 songs, and it definitely is 3 hours straight. So it's not like it's a bunch of snippets on there and 1 minute songs. It's definitely a 3 hour, almost 4 hour album to sit back and listen to. So definitely check that out if you got time. It's like 4 discs. So pick that out. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys hit the like button and turn that bell on. And I think we up out of here. Any last words, Trez, Maurice?
Yeah, I was never really into the slave movies. As kids, we was kind of forced to watch Roots and all that stuff. But really, like you said, Django, okay, that's an exception. I'm really not feeling it though overall. But I will take like a Dave Chappelle kind of Time Haters, you know what I'm saying, movie that goes back in time and lampoons on and like brings to light social behaviors or whatever, in that smart kind of way. I'll take something like that. But as far as this old country boy and he fell in love with Ellie Mae and it was a forbidden affair and all this, I don't care about that, man. Like I don't care about the affairs of exploiting the affairs of what happened to these people during slavery time and stuff. Like,
right,
I'm good. I don't make that into
like,
a romance for me. Don't make it into none of that for me. I'm good.
Exactly. Like tell the real story. We don't need the 12 years a slave. Tell the real story.
Right.
What really happened, and make it a docu-series.
Talk about all the rebellions. Talk about all the ones that fought
Exactly.
back.
Exactly.
They don't talk about
do a docu-series. Don't just clown movie.
Yeah, because you would think the way media portrays it is like black people was just sitting around just taking it, but no, man. A lot. I mean, a lot of people had rebellions. It was going on.
They were killing folks and everything. Yeah,
it was a lot of fight. It wasn't just no sit down and we taking it. But this is what happens when you have the dominant society controlling media. They'll control that narrative. But We know the truth. We know about the Stono Rebellion and other rebellions like it. We know what happened with Nat Turner. So let's be real about it. Our people were always fighting from the moment they got here to the time up until now. I'm gonna be real, up until now, because technically, we can go deeper, but we ain't gonna do that. But appreciate everybody, man. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate the support. We'll take any little thing we can get.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Planet Free Spirit and Love, me Fro, for coming through in the chat, engaging with us, and make sure you guys share the video as well, and leave your commentary. Definitely read the comments. So definitely go ahead and leave some comments. If you have any ideas for the show, definitely leave those as well. And we'll catch you guys next time. We'll try to do another show next week, either 17th or the 18th. We'll do one. So you guys stay tuned.